There's something quietly frustrating about pain that never quite leaves. For many of my patients, it begins as a dull ache in the morning, then turns into a steady reminder that simple joys, gardening, cooking, even holding a grandchild, don't feel the same anymore. You may think you're doing everything right, eating your vegetables, staying active, taking your supplements. But what if a few of those healthy foods are secretly fueling the fire inside your joints? That's what we're uncovering today. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. In this episode, we'll explore the surprising truth about 10 common vegetables that may worsen arthritis and inflammation. Some of them are kitchen staples you'd never suspect. Stay with me until the end, because understanding how your body responds to these foods could be the key to finding real, lasting relief from joint pain. Tomatoes, bright, juicy, and heart-healthy, seem almost innocent, don't they? They're the star of salads, sauces, and comfort foods like pasta and soup. But for some people with arthritis, these cheerful red fruits can act like tiny sparks that keep the fire of inflammation alive. The culprit is a natural compound called solanine, part of a group found in what we call the nightshade family. Now, solanine isn't evil. It's a natural defense the plant uses to protect itself. But in sensitive individuals, it can behave like a mischievous guest, overstimulating certain pathways that may increase joint discomfort or stiffness. I once had a patient named Carol, a retired teacher who loved her tomato garden. Every summer, her joints would ache terribly, and she blamed the humidity. One year, she skipped her tomatoes, and to her surprise, the pain subsided. Not everyone reacts this way. For most people, tomatoes' lycopene actually helps reduce inflammation. The key is self-awareness. Keep a food journal. If your symptoms flare after tomato-based meals, try taking a few weeks off. Your body's reactions are like whispers. Listen closely, and you might find clarity. Now let's talk about another familiar friend on the dinner plate, the humble potato. Mashed, baked, or fried, potatoes feel like comfort itself. But for some with arthritis, this comfort food can come with a cost. Like tomatoes, potatoes belong to the nightshade family and contain solanine, the same compound that may trigger inflammation in sensitive joints. Imagine your body as a neighborhood where inflammation is like a noisy neighbor. Solanine doesn't always cause the disturbance, but when it does, it can turn a quiet evening into a restless night of pain and stiffness. I remember James, a 68-year-old who came to me desperate to understand why his knees throbbed every morning. We ruled out medication issues, then started examining his diet. He laughed when I mentioned potatoes. He'd been eating them almost daily. After 3 weeks without them, he noticed the difference. Now, this doesn't mean potatoes are villains. They're rich in potassium, vitamin C, and fiber, and for many people, they're perfectly fine. But if you suspect they're stirring up trouble, try substituting sweet potatoes. They're not part of the nightshade family and carry powerful anti-inflammatory nutrients like beta-carotene. Every person's chemistry is unique, and finding relief often means becoming a detective in your own kitchen. Sometimes one small change makes all the difference. Eggplants are beautiful, deep purple, glossy, full of promise in a hearty stew or Mediterranean dish. But for some arthritis sufferers, that beauty hides a small but potent challenge. Like their nightshade cousins, eggplants contain solanine, the same chemical that can irritate nerve endings and potentially fan the flames of inflammation. Think of it like a splinter you can't quite see, tiny but enough to keep the body's defenses on alert. Most people digest eggplants with no issue at all, but for a few, those glossy slices can lead to more stiffness or swelling, especially in already tender joints. One of my patients, Maria, adored her eggplant parmesan. She didn't want to believe food could be part of her pain story, but when she tried avoiding eggplants for a month, the change startled her. Less morning stiffness, easier walks, even better sleep. When she reintroduced them, the ache crept back in like an unwelcome visitor. That told us everything we needed to know. Now, eggplants aren't without virtue. They're rich in fiber and niacin, a remarkable antioxidant that protects cells. For many, they're perfectly healthy. But if you suspect a link between eggplant and discomfort, experiment gently. Swap it with zucchini or mushrooms for a few weeks. Your body will tell you the truth if you give it the chance to speak. Peppers are nature's confetti, bright, colorful, and bursting with flavor. Whether you love the sweetness of bell peppers or the fiery kick of chili peppers, they add excitement to almost any dish. But here's where things get tricky. Peppers also belong to the nightshade family and carry solanine, the same compound we've been talking about. For some people, that can mean irritation in the joints, especially if their bodies are already prone to inflammation. It's like adding a dash of fuel to a small flame. Suddenly, the fire burns a little hotter. And then there's capsaicin, the chemical that gives hot peppers their heat. Ironically, capsaicin is often used in pain-relieving creams for arthritis, because when applied to the skin, it helps block pain signals. But eaten in large amounts, it can sometimes irritate the digestive system or even worsen inflammation in those who are sensitive. I remember Joan, a 72-year-old who adored spicy food. She thought giving it up would be unbearable. But within 2 weeks of easing off her hot peppers, her morning stiffness improved noticeably. Now peppers are nutritional powerhouses, packed with vitamins A, C, and antioxidants that fight cellular stress. For many, their benefits outweigh the risks. The secret lies in observation. If your joints seem to rebel after a spicy meal, try a break. Your body keeps the score. You just have to read it. Spinach, Popeye's favorite and a symbol of strength, seems like the last vegetable that could cause harm. But for certain people, especially those living with arthritis or gout, this leafy green can quietly add to their discomfort. The reason lies in its purine content. Purines are natural substances found in many foods, and when the body breaks them down, they turn into uric acid. Normally, the body flushes this out, but if uric acid builds up, it can form sharp crystals in the joints, tiny needles that cause that unmistakable gout pain. I once met Harold, a former firefighter, who prided himself on his healthy diet. He ate spinach every morning in his smoothie, believing it kept him young. But his gout flare-ups became more frequent. When we reduced his spinach intake and swapped in kale and Swiss chard, both lower in purines, his pain gradually eased. His surprise turned to relief. "I thought I was doing everything right," he said. "Turns out I just needed the right greens." For most people without gout, spinach is still a friend. It's rich in vitamin K, iron, and antioxidants that support overall health. But if you're prone to gout or unexplained joint swelling, moderation matters. Health isn't about perfection. It's about listening, adjusting, and giving your body what it truly needs. Mushrooms have a special kind of magic to them. Earthy, savory, and comforting, they bring depth to soups and sauces in a way few other foods can. But when it comes to arthritis, particularly gout, they deserve a closer look. Mushrooms are rich in compounds called purines, and just like with spinach, purines break down into uric acid inside the body. For someone predisposed to gout, that can mean painful flare-ups, sharp, throbbing aches that strike like lightning, often in the feet or hands. I think of Leonard, a gentle grandfather who came to see me after years of unpredictable pain. He loved mushrooms in his morning omelet and couldn't imagine life without them. But after cutting them out for a few weeks, his swelling eased and his energy returned. "I didn't realize how much food could be part of my pain story," he told me, and that's a truth I've seen time and again. That said, mushrooms are not villains. They're rich in vitamin D, selenium, and antioxidants, nutrients that can protect your cells from oxidative stress and even support immune health. The key is knowing your body's thresholds. If you're not prone to gout, enjoy them in moderation. But if your joints protest after that favorite mushroom soup, listen. Your body often whispers before it shouts. Corn often feels like sunshine on a plate, sweet, familiar, and comforting. From summer barbecues to warm cornbread, it's woven into countless happy memories. But for those managing arthritis, corn can sometimes play an unexpected role in keeping inflammation alive. The issue isn't corn itself, but its high content of omega-6 fatty acids. These fats aren't inherently bad. Your body needs them. But when they greatly outweigh omega-3s, the kind found in fish and flax, they can tip the balance toward inflammation. It's like having too many accelerators and not enough brakes in your system. One of my patients, Helen, a retired nurse, loved her cornflakes every morning, but she also relied heavily on processed foods, corn oil, chips, snack bars. When we replaced some of those with omega-3 rich foods like salmon, walnuts, and chia seeds, her joint stiffness began to ease. Her comment still makes me smile. I didn't know I could trade chips for salmon and still feel like I was winning. Corn, especially fresh and minimally processed, can still be part of a balanced diet. The danger lies in its processed forms, corn syrup, corn oil, refined snacks, that quietly load the body with pro-inflammatory fats. The goal isn't deprivation, it's restoration. By bringing your body back into balance, you give your joints the calm they've been craving. Okra, with its gentle green pods and silky texture, is a favorite in many southern kitchens. It's often praised for being rich in vitamins and fiber, but for some people with arthritis, it may stir up more than just a stew. The reason lies in certain compounds called fructans, natural carbohydrates that can be difficult for sensitive digestive systems to break down. When they ferment in the gut, they can cause bloating and inflammation, which may in turn aggravate joint discomfort. It's a bit like a ripple effect. What begins in the belly can echo in the knees and fingers. I think of Dora, a 70-year-old grandmother who made the best gumbo in town. She swore her recipe kept her family healthy, but she couldn't understand why her joints hurt more after her favorite meals. When she reduced her okra intake and replaced it with green beans and asparagus, her flare-ups eased. I still miss it sometimes, she told me, but I love waking up without that ache. Okra also contains oxalates, which in some individuals can contribute to kidney stones or inflammation. That doesn't mean everyone needs to avoid it. Just pay attention. Enjoy it occasionally. But if you notice joint pain or digestive discomfort afterward, consider giving your body a rest from it. Healing begins with awareness. Beets are one of nature's most beautiful foods. Their deep crimson color feels like life itself. They're earthy, sweet, and full of powerful antioxidants. But for some people with arthritis, beets can be a double-edged sword. Their high oxalate content can sometimes contribute to inflammation or even kidney stone formation in those who are sensitive. Think of oxalates as microscopic crystals. In excess, they can irritate tissues and, for a few, worsen joint discomfort. I remember Clara, a 68-year-old artist who juiced beets every morning because she'd heard they were detoxifying. Yet she couldn't understand why her knees swelled after her morning drink. When we tested reducing her beet intake and lightly cooking them instead of juicing them raw, her symptoms improved dramatically. Cooking, as it turns out, helps lower oxalate levels. Sometimes the difference between pain and comfort can be as simple as how you prepare your food. Still, it's important to remember that beets have incredible benefits too. They're rich in folate, fiber, and betalains, compounds known to support circulation and heart health. For many people, they're perfectly safe in moderation. The key, again, is personalization. Your body tells you what it needs when you slow down and listen. Food can heal or harm, depending on the person and the portion. Canned vegetables might seem like a small convenience, but for many people over 50, they're a pantry staple. They save time, reduce waste, and make cooking easier. But here's what most don't realize. Behind that convenience often hides a hidden trigger for joint pain: inflammation fueled by excessive sodium and preservatives. Salt helps preserve food, yes, but it also causes your body to retain water. That swelling doesn't just happen in your fingers or ankles. It can add pressure and stiffness to your joints, making arthritis pain feel heavier, almost as if your body is carrying an invisible weight. I recall Martha, a kind woman in her 70s, who told me she couldn't understand why her joints hurt more during the winter. After reviewing her diet, we discovered she relied heavily on canned soups and vegetables. Once she switched to frozen or fresh produce and started rinsing the canned items she did keep, her fingers felt more flexible, her morning pain less sharp. "I didn't know something so small could make such a big difference," she said. Canned vegetables aren't the enemy. They're a tool. But like any tool, they need to be used wisely. Choose low sodium or no salt added options. Rinse them before eating, and when you can, cook with fresh ingredients. Your joints will thank you for every unprocessed choice you make. So we've taken a journey through 10 vegetables that, for some, may quietly worsen arthritis pain through compounds like solanine, purines, oxalates, and even too much sodium. But remember this, not all bodies react the same. What inflames one person may nourish another. The real power lies in awareness, patience, and gentle experimentation. Keep a food diary, listen to your body, and make changes slowly. Healing is never about restriction, it's about rediscovery.